All right, here we go. I think now everyone should be able to hear me. Saying a quick hello. With the video, might have to disable it soon. See how the internet's doing. All right, great. So welcome everybody. Before we get going, let's just give a brief thank you to Blackboard Collaborate for the software, and the Learning Revolution project, which is sponsoring this whole spiel, and they do a wonderful job with a variety of. All right, so let's start here. If you go over to the little sun icon here, you can tell me where you're coming from. And as you can see here, I am in southern Japan here. Kagoshima, Japan is the city. Anybody else can click on the little sun icon and let me know where you're at. All right. Oh, wow. We've got, it looks like it could be Israel or Lebanon, I'm guessing. Well, we've got, looks like, is that Hong Kong? No, it's southern China, Shanghai. Okay. Shanghai and Lebanon. Oh, great. Two good places. I love Lebanon. And we'll actually be heading to Egypt in August. All right. So let me just continue here. Welcome everybody. So today's theme is instilling global citizenship in and out of the classroom. And I will just start with a brief background about myself. I'm originally from Chicago. I studied at Michigan cultural anthropology and started to travel around the world. Was fascinated by just international travels, and decided to try to turn that into a lifestyle, and got my master's degree. And I've been living and traveling, working around the world ever since. I've been doing a lot of nonprofit work. I started my own organization, and that's the best hobby in the world. And in the meantime, I've also, started my teaching career, and also been helping schools develop their kind of social action, service learning kind of strategies over the years. And that's where we're at today. So currently, I'm teaching English in Japan, but I will be teaching in an international school starting this year. I'll be in Alexandria, Egypt, at the oldest American school in Africa, so very excited about that. I continue to help schools, as I said, develop their programs through the, you can see the website, which I'll give the link later because it has a lot more links to some other programs that might be of interest to you. So I guess we should start here by asking, what is global citizenship? This is a term that has become, more and more important, and it's significant in so many aspects. So I guess first and foremost, it's really having an identity. We have an identity of, oh, I'm a Chicagoan or I'm an American. But beyond that, I mean, for years, I've actually, when people ask me where I'm from, I kind of have said, well, I really feel like I'm from all over the place because I spent so much time all over the world, so I feel like I'm more of a citizen of the earth than I am really an American per se anymore. And I think that's healthy. And this is a trend that now in education is becoming more and more accepted. And it's really about, providing that more holistic view and identifying with our commonalities in the world and finding ways that we can work together to, improve the world, to understand each other, and recognize all the cultural differences and similarities that we do share. And tying this into education is really key because that's, as we know, that's when kids are much more malleable, and that's when they can really start to understand this concept. And I will say that there are a few terms and a few, I think, concepts that really go hand in hand with global citizenship. And social justice and equity is one, equality. Diversity is another, and sustainable development is another, and also really just understanding peace and conflict studies also goes hand in hand with global citizenship. There are certain skills that are associated with global citizenship, and these are some of the skills that I'll get to those in a second. Let's just look here first. We've got these 3 ways of instilling global citizenship, and first of all, we've got curriculum design. So that is sometimes obviously easier said than done. We don't all have the ability to come in and really design a curriculum for our school, but ideally we can help schools design their own curriculum so that it stresses some of these skills and some of these tools and attitudes, really, a sense of empathy, right, identity, self-esteem, social justice, a respect for diversity, concern for the environment, a commitment to sustainable development, and really the belief that people can make a difference, and that's one of the prime ideas here. So that's one technique. Another is using technology to create kind of a global collaboration. All right, thank you. I will do that. Okay, that should be a bit better. Thank you for that, John. The second aspect is, as I said, using technology to create these global collaboration forums. And I will get into some of those in particular, but the idea itself is really novel, and it's something that in recent years has become more and more widespread. And there's really no excuse anymore, no matter where a school is located, there's really no excuse to feel isolated and to feel out of touch with the rest of the world. With some very simple digital tools, it's now possible to connect to schools all over the world in a wide variety of manners. And third is we've got the social action projects that use kind of a service-based learning, and this is kind of the next step beyond interacting with classes in other countries and beyond instilling some of these values of global citizenship. This is kind of the third step that we're reaching towards, and that is when students can really see the agency that they possess and really have the power to tackle a social problem or address a need in the community or help kind of a nonprofit that's already in the field. So those are 3 of the main ways to go about instilling global citizenship. Why is this important? Well, in and out of the classroom, global citizenship is really imperative in today's world, and I've seen it firsthand that once kids become engaged with the world around them, and once they realize kind of their membership to this wider society, and they see the commonalities that they share with people all over the world, it really opens their eyes, and it really opens their whole world up and helps them develop that sense of empathy and that sense of self-worth, that they can really help accomplish something, and there's really so many benefits. It also fits into the 21st century learning platform that is so important and is gaining more and more traction. And one thing I love about it is the way that it really engages students. And doing some of these projects, these collaboration projects, it's great because you see those kids that even many teachers that participate in these programs say the same thing. They say, well, I knew that those one handful of kids would be into it because they're, really turned on to all the learning that we do here. But, there was a few of them that it's really hard to get them to participate, and the next thing you know, they're really in tune, they're really attuned to what's going on, because it is such an engaging experience. And once kids can, really, once they realize that they're involved in something that's so just broadening and fun, it really makes things easier. And it's also important, some of the skills that I talked about, we've got collaboration, as I said, and critical thinking, the ability to argue, make arguments. A lot of these programs have some kind of debate format or express themselves, convincingly in writing, and the ability to kind of, challenge ideas, challenge injustice or inequality, and develop a respect for people, for other cultures. I mean, to you and me, these sound pretty obvious, but there has to be a concerted effort to instill these types of values in our students. And what better way than to teach them about cooperation and conflict resolution than to have them actually working hand in hand with another school, for example. And in all the kind of studies that research that I've done, I think that there's three main components of global citizenship. The first is communication, so that first you have to really kind of open up the classroom. The expression kind of a flattened classroom has been used, and I'll mention that a little later. But so it starts with that communication of the students have to communicate with those that are outside of their classroom. And there's a variety of means to do that, but that's the first step, right? There has to be an exchange. It can't just be, here's the textbook, whatever. And the second one is collaboration, and this is really fun. This is where students are actually, instead of just on one level is, meeting someone from another school, maybe you're on Skype or something, that's great. But when you can actually work together to help achieve something or create something or address an issue, that is when it kind of takes the next step. And then from there we've got creation, and this creation here means like project creation, right? So a lot of this is project-based learning, and so this is the stage where something is actually created, whether it's it could be a debate, it could be an e-book, it could be a paper, it could be a film. There's a variety of things, but these three kind of come together and create this citizenship that we're trying to achieve. And one thing that's important as a teacher is, I know some of this is really new, and some teachers get a little intimidated, like, oh my God, how am I going to set all this up? But it's really not that complex, and I wanted to just, I got this from a book, Flatten Connections, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I really like this graphic because it shows the different levels. So, first of all, you can practice right here at level 1. So before you jump into one of these global collaboration projects, you can just start out by saying, all right, look, we're going to practice communicating, together so that we're ready to communicate with other schools or other people in the field or whatever. So you could even, you can break up the class and you can put half the students on one side of the class and half the students on the other, and you can have them communicate with each other using a variety of different means, digital tools. You could have them, they could Skype each other, they could communicate on a wiki together or a blog. There's a variety of ways that they can communicate. That's just within the class. Once they're comfortable with that, you can say, all right, you know what, let's practice and we'll connect with, Mrs. Johnson's class in 204, or, a school down the street, something like that, just for the next step. And then third is a managed global connection, and this is where, the teacher can help kind of set up one of these projects, and the students are, they're kind of led through the process so they understand how it works and everything. So it brings us to level 4, which is student to student. And this is really fun. This is where it kind of takes off. This is where you let, teachers administering the interaction, and the students are maybe chatting on Skype, or maybe they're contributing to a wiki together or something. And then lastly is student to student, and this is where it all kind of can blossom, and that's where students now can communicate with each other over the course of time. They don't necessarily need the teacher standing over their shoulder. These projects are, there is, some supervision in terms of making sure that the content, is suitable and everything. But it's great when we can let the students actually do their thing and collaborate together and work out whatever their project is. And so looking at the curriculum here, these are just some of the, as I said, just to circle back, whenever we're doing these projects, we want to make sure that we are aware of the curricular ideas that we want to instill, right? It's not just the fact that we're collaborating with another school in itself. That's not what's really, transformative about this. What's transformative about this is the fact that we are collaborating together, and we are learning about each other's culture, and we're also working together to address certain issues and try to find solutions. So as I said, this is a very multidisciplinary approach, and that global perspective, and that just we have to be conscious of these ideals as we design these projects. And so one of the best ways to instill global citizenship is through these online collaboration platforms. Now, before I get into describing each one, I just wanted to point out that this is something that can be integrated into a wide variety of classes. So don't feel like, oh, well, I'm an ESL teacher, but this stuff has to do with international politics or whatever. Like there are commonalities here across a lot of classes, and it's really such a multidisciplinary idea that different subjects can be dealt with, right? So there's been plenty of science classes, social studies classes, ESL, language arts, history classes that are using these types of projects, right? And another option, as I wrote here, is having some kind of, like some kind of global action club, or some kind of supplemental, class where those that are interested can come together and really work on one of these projects. These are a few of the tech tools that are widely used in these projects. I'm sure you all are already familiar with Skype, and this is wonderful. I mean, just seeing classrooms connect with each other on Skype is just it never gets old. Wikis are, for those that haven't used wikis, this is different from Wikipedia. A wiki is like a wiki space, we call them, and it's basically a website. Think of it as an empty website where anybody that can come on and add something to that website. So if we have an empty wiki, I could write up here, okay, my name's Adam and I'm coming to you from Japan, and then the next person could come in and say, hey, I'm John and I'm in, where's John? In China or something, right? So, I'm sorry, from Nigeria, great. And so this is a great tool because the students have the ability to actually carry out research together and work out their ideas together. You can upload all types of different things to it, so it's really like a website forum, okay? And blogs, I'm sure you're familiar with blogs, but again, students from all over the world can be contributing to the same blog. They can be making comments, reacting to each other's comments. You can have these global conversations taking place, which are really enriching. And then we've got Google Docs, and Google Docs just get really just getting better and better. There's so many new features coming on, and Google Docs are great because it's real time. The second somebody writes, you can see it from the other. You can see it on the same document. So Google Docs are a great tool for these. And then a lot of I was talking about kind of the media creation, and multimedia presentations are a very big part of these projects. But again, don't feel intimidated if this is something that you're not really used to, because a lot of these are really intuitive types of programs that even if you aren't familiar with them, if you just kind of present it to the class and say, all right, we're going to create we're going to create our own little animated film using this software. We're going to create an annotated screencast, right? Using this, I'm telling you, these kids, they being digital natives, as we say, they jump right in and they figure it out in 10 minutes. So, and this is a really important component of the whole process, because this is something that the kids can really work on together and produce something, and they're really proud of this, and they can they can show it to everybody. And also the fact that it's being viewed around the world is really exciting to kids. And I've found that if you tell a kid, all right, I want you to do this, I want you to put together a little film, they'll put together the film. But if you say, I want you to put together this film, and if it comes out, and then we will put it up on the blog, and we'll share it with all these other schools, and everyone can see what you're doing, and then the kids, they jump on it. They love it. And the last tool is VoiceThread, and VoiceThread is a really cool. It's a really cool tool where you can basically leave audio notes for each other. So it's like a blog, except it's audio. So I could start out by saying, I have an important question for you. Can someone please tell me, what is 2 plus 2? And that would get posted online, and then any of you could join that thread, and you can hear what I said. Then you would just press record, and you would add your input. You would say, well, Adam, the answer is 4, and so on and so forth. So these are great for some of the debates where you have schools having a full-on debate with each other across the globe. And everything is kind of saved on there too, so it's great. It's a great tool. So there's an important distinction to make here once we start using these tools, and that is between synchronous and asynchronous. Now, I'm sure some of you are familiar with these terms, but I will just briefly define them again. Something that is synchronous is happening, in real time. You and I are having a synchronous interaction right now. Most Skype calls are synchronous, video conferences, and so on and so forth. Google Docs, wikis, they can be synchronous, right? You can all be working on them together, whereas asynchronous is something that is, cut off in time. So for those that miss this presentation and tomorrow or later on want to listen to the recorded session, that would be an asynchronous interaction. And the voice thread, as I said, that's asynchronous. And the Google Docs can also be asynchronous, for example. Some of the factors that are, have to be mentioned is, working with different time zones can be a challenge. Sometimes it's really important to at least have one, if nothing else, to have one live interaction with another class if you're doing one of these projects. So sometimes one of the schools has to either come in a little early or stay a little late to make that happen. And also keep in mind that each school, each country kind of has their own schedules, their own holidays. Like in the Middle East, they're in school from Sunday through Thursday because Friday's the holy day. So things, once these projects get going, things that you just figure out between schools. And then there's also the whole nother component is the last one, which is in person. Now, some of these platforms that I will be discussing also have live kind of meetings, like a conference, where the different schools can come together and meet and address, whatever the theme is, or do their presentations, things like that. So those are, obviously it's a whole nother level, whole nother dynamic. But of course, there's some costs involved with travel and things like that. So, and just a few of the types of interactions that do take place. So the first one is when your schools are competing with each other, right? So maybe some of you are used to kind of like the Model UN or things like that. Each school has their own team and they're competing with each other. Some of these, I'm judging a global youth debate, a few debates, and that is, there's a winner, and then it goes to the semifinals and the finals. So that is really a competition, but a lot of them are more just based on collaboration, right? So schools are coming together, and as I said, they're working on a global issue together, and they're maybe co-creating some kind of multimedia creation there. And then the third one is partnering, and partnering is more about coming together to maybe address one of the needs in one of the school's communities, a social need, or maybe to help a nonprofit there or something like that. So those are the three main types of interactions there. And now I'm going to just highlight three of the best global collaboration platforms. And I will jump right into taking it global for educators. This is they have their own online portal, and they have a wide variety of programs available. And they're all over the world. It's really extensive project. And their mantra is using technology to, as they say, create these transformative learning experiences. And I really like that term because I've seen that this really is, a transformative learning experience. When a kid realizes that, closing a textbook and opening, and really kind of tearing down the walls of the classroom to interact with the world is just a kind of a mind-altering experience, and one that will really help shape their learning to come. TIGED is free. There's all types of programs that you can enroll your school in, and I will also point out that they have some cool professional development classes that teachers can enroll in, and those could help you also get a little more comfortable with this type of interaction. And again, they focus on three things: global citizenship, environmental stewardship, and student voice. Really, these are common objectives throughout a few of these. A few of the projects that they have some of them are based on the environment, such as the Deforest Action, which is really cool. One thing I like about TIGED is that they bring in guest speakers, and so the students can kind of log in and through their online portal they can actually hear some scientists describing what's going on the ground. And it's really exciting for students to get that kind of firsthand primary source feedback from some expert on the other side of the world. And so they have a lot of these video conferences, right, that address different global issues, and so you'll want to check out some of those. They're called Global Encounters. What else? We've got the, I like this Shout one here because it works with Microsoft's Partner in Learning and Smithsonian. So there's a lot, again, there's a lot of like scientists and Smithsonian educators that are involved in this, and it's a pretty cool project. So that's TIGED. I'll provide the links at the end in case you want. The second one is the International Education and Resource Network, and this one is another. This is the other, I'd say, the other really big one. I think that it could be the biggest. 30,000 schools in 140 countries. They claim that 2 million students every day are participating in these projects, which is astounding. And they have over 150 projects. They also have their own kind of online collaboration center. It's like a web portal. So everything is kind of operated in that framework, which is cool. And their essential question, much like the transformative learning experiences, is actually more based on how will this project improve the quality of life on the planet. So that is really their focus. This slide didn't translate so well, but these are just a few of their different programs. They have these 6-month-long project-based projects called Learning Circles, and within the Learning Circles there's a variety of different themes. So the first one there is kind of a computer, it's like an online newspaper where students can kind of report on what's going on in their community and whatnot. The second one, MindWorks, is more a writing-based interaction. Then you've got the global issues. There's two. There's the education-based and the environmentally based. So yeah, those are. The second one's more of a science, biology kind of thing. For those that are interested in, kind of instilling that financial responsibility and more of kind of an economic awareness, the Money Matters one is great, and students can learn how money is involved with their life. And last one, My City and Me. This is cool. This is for kids to really learn more about where they come from and share that with the other schools. These are just a lot of fun in terms of just understanding the culture of different countries. And then the third one that I'm going to talk about is Flatten Connections. And Flatten Connections is a younger player on in this realm, and it's based on the idea of it was first called Flattened Classrooms, if anybody maybe heard of that, but it's basically the idea is tearing down the walls of the school so that they can interact with the rest of the world. And so it's a real hands-on approach, really, learning while doing. So they offer a variety of these projects. from K through 12. And these are supervised by teachers from around the world and some expert advisors that help out with some of the research. I've actually been an expert advisor for some of these global research projects these kids are doing, which is fun to see them all working towards a common goal. And they also have some some conferences every year, like student summits, where the different schools can get together and work on projects together. And I will also say that they have a fantastic professional development course, if anybody is interested. It's called the Flatten Connections Global Educator Series, if I'm not mistaken. And it's on the website, which I'll show you at the end. And it's just a really great primer to familiarize yourself with some of the tools and you basically carry out some of these projects on a small scale with other teachers that are in the class, and in doing so, you're learning you're learning about these different platforms, these different digital tools, so that you're then ready to do the same thing for your students. So you might want to take a look at that professional development class. These are a few of their projects. The Global Youth Debates, as I said, I've been judging those, and those are pretty fun because we got schools. I mean, I was just judging one. There was a school in America and against a school in Singapore, and it's really, even though they're on the other side of the world, it's carried out as though they're right in front of each other. So the way it works is, using the VoiceThread tool, the site that I was telling you about, the first team can come on and say, okay, here's our intro, here's our main points, blah, blah, blah. And then the other team, will, the next day they go onto the site, they listen, and then they have their, 2 minutes to prepare their rebuttal, right? So they record their rebuttal, and then it goes back to the other school, and they listen, then they have their 2 minutes, and this is supervised by the teachers and everything. So it's really fun to see, and sometimes some of the different viewpoints come out from different cultures in different countries. So those are a lot of fun. The Digit-Teen and Digit-Tween project is a good kind of starter project, I think, because it really deals with digital citizenship. And for any school that's jumping into some of these web-based collaborative projects, it's always a good idea to establish some ground rules there, and to really make the students aware about the importance of their digital footprint and their digital identity, and kind of maintaining, keeping everything even keel. So this is a cool project. And the other thing I like about a project like this, and this is something to keep in mind, is your students can, if you're doing this with one class, for example, that class, as part of their kind of outreach or really showing what they've learned, they can actually do a presentation to other grades, to other classes, to the rest of the school or something. So, for example, if you have let's say you have like sophomore in high school that are doing this project, this Digit-Teen project, when they're finished, they could actually do a presentation to the middle schoolers, right, about the importance of digital citizenship and how to make sure that you're protecting yourself and things like that. So the learning, these kids can also teach what they've learned in these projects to other classes in the school, which is a lot of fun. Another one they've got here, this is for the little tykes, and it's obviously a more basic the project, but it's all about just kind of cultural exchange and learning about the different countries and things like that. It's fun. And similarly, Week in the Life. This is a nice way for schools to learn about each other, about the different cultures, and it's kids with some of the younger kids, really connects with them and kind of their everyday life and things that they kids are fascinated to hear, like, what did you eat for breakfast? When you grow up eating the same thing every day for breakfast, and then they hear that, like, kids in Japan have, like, soup and rice for breakfast. I think that's, like, the craziest thing ever. But that just opens their mind to, like, these different cultures and things like that. So you can take a look at some of those. And there's also a few more that I wanted to just point out here, and let me find those here. So there's let's see. There's one called. I'll just give you a few links here. I think that this one is really cool. It's called 100people.org. This one's a lot of fun. ePals is another one to check out. ePals is great. It's like basically helping schools pair up with each other to be, whether it's pen pal or taking it beyond that and kind of designing some kind of project there. So that might be fun for you. This is a good link I'd wanted to share with you a lot more about global citizenship, and this comes from Oxfam. So it's a really, it's like a teacher's guide. So I think that will provide some good links there for you, some good ideas. And yeah, there's another one that I will be finding for you in a second. All right. So where are we at now? Okay. So I think it's don't feel that this is really daunting, that it's too big to tackle or anything, because as I said, there's a lot of, this is something that you can work on instilling this on a small level and through just little just even little activities, like even pulling out a picture, bringing in a few pictures from magazines or something from just other parts of the world, and just starting to discuss some of the themes that we were talking about is the first step towards opening up the students' eyes to this kind of global identity and some of the themes that run through that. And a lot of the skills, as I said, we're always trying to get our students to think critically and to cooperate together. These all kind of fit together. I would say when you go to some of these sites, a lot of times you can look and seek some kind of archived projects, which is fun because you can see what some of the other schools have done, and you get a feel for how these different projects might be different. So you might want to take a look at some of those. And again, don't feel like you have to jump into a full year project. There's a lot of smaller scale projects where you can get started on a more basic level. And I will share with you another another project here that I wanted to pass along, and that is Global Nomads. I'm just going to give you a few more sites here that might help you. This one is fun, Global Nomads. That's pretty cool. This one is run through the this IREX is through the U.S. State Department. and that pairs up schools in America and around the world. This one is based more on like rebuilding, like after disasters and stuff, getting students involved in that. This one is through the NAIS, and it's they've got some cool stuff on there. I really like this One World Youth Project. Take a look at that one. And this site's not working right now, but I've been to it before, and it's a cool idea. It's My Hero, and this is great because it's more based on kind of individuals, and so students can go on and learn about some of these heroes of other cultures, and they can also kind of put their own hero up on the site and everything. Connect All Schools. This is helps American schools connect with schools around the world. Connect with international schools. I'll put that one on there. And then 100 People Project. This is another fun. This is also kind of everyday heroes. This one's fun. Let's see what else. The empathy. We were talking about empathy. This one here is through the Ashoka Foundation. That might be interested. It's a kind of the empathy initiative. And then this Youth Voices Adobe is cool also. This one is focused on getting kids to express themselves really. And there's a few. This is a really fun. There's some student news networks that might be of interest to you also. So this is a great way. I'll just put student news networks. So, you know, when students can become like the reporter, and they can find a story, and they can, you know, tell that story, and maybe make a film or whatever, and then share it, and have it up on one of these platforms where it's viewed around the world and stuff. They get really excited about that, obviously. And so there's a few of those. There's this one, and then there's let's see, there's the World Youth News one. This one here I'm not really that familiar with, but here's another one. And I've got another one, World Youth News. And then there's this one. So these are all similar, right? But that's a whole nother option. And let's see. Lastly, the last thing I wanted to share with you is a great slide share. I'm not sure if you're familiar with SlideShare, but this has a ton of really cool information, and it's very in-depth. So I'll share that. That has a lot more information than I've given. I mean, it would take a while to go through all that. And then there's this one here, Global Collaboration Projects. So between those there, you've got a lot more material. And so, as I said, I think the next step would be to start to, you know, explore some of these links and look for, you know, maybe a starter, you know, just a starter project, something that a lot of times it's good when you can also, if you find a few of these projects that look interesting, you can ask your students, you know, is this something that might be of interest? You know, as I said, you can start within your school, and once you've set up contact with, you know, Mrs. Thompson's class, you could say, hey, would it be cool if we could connect with a school in another continent, you know? And if the kid's like, yeah, that sounds great, you know, you say, all right, well, let's make it happen, and then you know, just kind of go with it. So I'm going to open it up. If anybody has any questions here, I'd be happy to try my best to answer them. Still have a few minutes left. Does if anyone has anything, feel free to fire away. And I don't know if anyone here is on live binders. I also have a binder here that has a lot of this information I can just put on here too. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Let's see. That might work, might not work. I'm not sure if I can share live binders this easily. Oh, let's see, share, here we go, I'm sorry. Let's get the link. Here's the link for that. There we go. Cool, so we've got Giselle in Lebanon. Giselle, where in Lebanon are you? I'm guessing that's Lebanon, the country, and not Lebanon, Indiana. Oh, Beirut, lovely. Great.
Yeah,
great.
Can you hear me?
Are you at an international school there in Beirut? Yes, I can. Are you at an international school there?
At the Benin American University in Beirut.
Oh, great. Yeah, I visited the university. Wonderful. I visited the university. It's a beautiful campus. Very nice place. Great. All right, wonderful. Well, let me see if there's anybody else that has any other questions here. I'm not seeing anything else. Yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting, and it's the kind of thing that just, you know, once you start to, I think once you just start to play with it a little bit, and that you'll really see the positive effects, you know, take hold. So hopefully it's something that that you can, you know, you can start to work with. So you said you're at the university. Is there like a high school there? I see. We've got we've got Lagos. Okay, so Elizabeth is in Nigeria. Very cool. And I'm not sure where Kathy and Jason are. Great. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for your participation, and as I said, I hope this has been informative for you. And you know, feel free to connect with me. All my information is on the website there. I'm on Twitter as well, obviously. So I'm going to sign off. Have a wonderful night, and best of luck with this new global citizenship efforts. Oh, great. Okay, Lizzie, that sounds cool. Sounds great. All right. Again, we get freshmen to come in there. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Giselle and Lizzie and Jason, everybody else. And have a great night. And I'm going to find how to disconnect this here. Stop the recording. All right. Good night.